Okay, Delilah has 5 words. Hold on to your cards. Okay, we're going to check her cards. I want to make it interesting, fun, as well as learning new Cocopah words. I was so surprised to find that probably 80% of the kids do not play board games. And very few of them knew how to play Scrabble. But every year I try to come up with ideas that are different, creative, as well as a good learning technique for our kids to learn Cocopah. I stress that every day when they come as to why they're there. And I find that a lot of them remember a lot of words. Sometimes they can remember the Cocopah words, but they don't remember the translation. So that's 1. And so 2. With this game, I felt like we could do the Cocopah words and do the translation in English so that they could put together words. And so we came up with I decided that I wanted to do Scrabble. Not the Scrabble game, but something similar to it, so that they could use the Cocopah words, put together words. And so we came up with the name for our Scrabble game, which is titled Aunur Cakap. Cakap means Aunur is words. Cakap means linking or putting together words. And they play it similar to the Scrabble game. It can be played up and down, it can be played crossways or diagonally. And I find that many of the kids can do this diagonally and link their words together, which to me is great. If you look at our list of words, we only have 20 words to work with because I felt like maybe going with 50 words is a bit much. And this was introduced only to the older kids, junior high and high school. We tried to play bingo, and we've played Uno in Cocopah, we've played bingo in Cocopah. This year with our younger group, the first session we did bingo, but I find that a lot of the kids are new, so we had to do with teaching them numbers and animals, because that's how you play bingo. These kids come from Head Start, first grade, second grade. By next year, they're going to be a grade higher and a little bit older, so that if they can remember what they learned this summer, they will be able to play the game next year. And that's what we look at. Every time we play with the kids, we have some that are very good at playing, and then they graduate and move on, and we have new kids that come on board, and people say, why do you play the same game over and over and over? Because we don't get the same kids over and over. We get different kids. Every year we have new kids. Every year there are graduates in the community, and they come to us. So, but anyway, this year we wanted to do something different. I wanted to do Scrabble. So I sat, we've gone through this, we've put together the game, and I played it with the staff to see what problems we have. And we did. We encountered a number of problems that we dealt with and corrected them. And when I introduced it to the older kids, they were not very enthusiastic, because it means you got to spell in Cocopah. And I stress the fact that if they can spell and write and speak in English, they can do the same with the Cocopah language using the same principles. And so we play, and we have kids. We have if you'll notice on our list, we have one word that has 11 letters. 11. And that word is shakatkat, which means duck. For whatever reason, maybe it's the sound of the word, but they're all interested in putting this word together, and they struggle and they struggle. We had 2 students, as of today, we had 2 students that put this word together across the board. And to me, it seemed like almost impossible to do. And not only today, we didn't use our cheat sheets. Last week, they used the cheat sheets. And we had 4-day weekend. And so I wanted them to study the words, try to remember the words, their meanings, and come back and play the game without the cheat sheet. And they did it today. I'm very impressed with the kids. They're all so willing to learn, wanting to learn. The staff as well. I have staff wanting to come and sit at my table and play this game. And they're very good at it. And it's catching. It's catching. And that's what I want to see. The enthusiasm towards learning something new. This is new. Hopefully by next year we'll have a different game. We've got so many games that can be translated. And so this is why we were doing this. Every day I stress this. It's your language. You need to learn it. You need to speak it. If you don't speak it, at least you know something of the language. And it's your language. That's why you're here. I tell them that nonstop. I had a student that was very shy. She didn't want to participate. But we kept stressing to her, or I did, stressing to her that even if she's not participating, she can learn by listening. That's how we learn. And I tell her, you speak English. How did you learn to speak English? It's not your language, but you learned it. You know your ABCs, you can use the same letters, the same alphabet, and sounding out your words and spelling it. And she didn't participate for about maybe 10 minutes, 15. Everybody else around the table were all busy trying to put words together. And she sat there very quietly, started putting her words together. Now she plays every day. I'm very happy with that. It makes me feel good to see them learning words and putting together words. Someone asked me, do they do sentences? And I said, no, we're just working with words. And we have 2 ladies that do phrases. And I think it was one of the ladies that asked me that. And I said, no, I work with the words and the games, but this is where you come in. You add words to the words that they learn. And that's how we teach. And that's how they're going to learn. I have the kids coming from one table to my table and repeating words they hear from the other tables, which to me is good. It's good because they're learning and they're remembering. I keep telling you, use your memory bank. You have a memory bank, which is why you speak English, which is why you write English. And think, you could do the same thing with the Cocopah language. And so for this year, this was our newest game. And I'm very enthusiastic about this game. And so are the kids. So hopefully for the next 3 days that we won't be using our cheat sheets and we're going to go. In fact, I give them 5 words off of our list. But they're putting together words that are on the list, but not the words I give them in the morning. So I tell them, if you can remember, like the word for gopher. I had one girl put that together. I saw her struggling, and she asked, "Where are the T's with the dot?" And when she asked that, I'm thinking, well, what is she trying to spell? It's got to be a couple of words, I know. And I said, well, don't worry about the dot. We have to fill in our own dots because the computer apparently doesn't put dots under the T. But she put this word together. And she looked at me and she said, "Is it spelled right?" I looked at her, I said, "Yes, it's spelled right." But in order to get the 5 words to become a winner, they have to read back to me the words they put together. And the 3 important sounds that I stress is the letter X, the sound of the letter X, which is, it's like clearing your throat and spitting. And the other one is the T. This word is tikshi, which means gopher. And that's what she put together because she can remember that. The other one is the double Polish L that we use in our language. And it has the sound of a sizzling, I call it a sizzling sound. And to do that, you have to touch your tongue to the roof of your mouth and blow hard. And I tell them, when you use that word in the game board, when you read it back to me, I want to hear those sounds. Otherwise, I'm going to tell you, no, it's not a good word. And so I stress that with kids. X. I know I had one that wanted to spell blue, the color blue. And I said, well, you can do it. Just sound it out like you do in the alphabet. Sound it out. It's like awa, A-W-A-A. And so to me, it's very challenging to work with these minds of these children and teaching them the language. And my greatest hope is one day I can sit and talk to these kids in Cocopah. I know it's probably a long ways off, but hopefully I may not be here to see it, but somebody will carry it on and continue the teachings of the Cocopah language. Start.